Well, I think that my favorite male character that I have represented so far is the character that Victor Banerjee played.
Mine too, by the way.
I
I was just telling Shruti.
Because, I think in Meherjaan, I really wanted to make my male characters also very feminine and show that men can also have that feminine nurturing side. The way the scene where Victor Banerjee puts on the perfume and the little rose right before he would be killed. And also, he's often shown with birds and leaves and in nature. So I wanted to create a very feminine and nurturing kind of environment around him, and also he's represented as a person who's a Sufi character, that
Right.
when he's getting ready, he knows that he's going to die and he's going to meet God. So for him, it's a moment to meet the divine. He's getting ready for his death, and the character of Omar Rahim is also he's a ballet dancer, and he's got a very feminine body language also in his face. So he was casted for that reason, that trying to show men who don't really fit into that masculine standards, and how these men also become outsiders or traitors, and they don't belong anywhere. So for me, and that was the kind of idea in Meherjaan. And Made in Bangladesh, it was, I wanted to show Roya's husband as a distant character, that Roya is kind of emotionally distant from him. And he's trying to keep a facade of this educated architect, upper class, but then he's also got his very typical notions that you're 33, you should have a baby, or, you're very selfish. And, he's kind of deciding for her that, oh, your ticket is ready, you're going to go to London, so through him, I wanted to bring that forth. And also through the character of Rahul Bose, it's also he's almost like a muse for her. He's an outsider and he's praising her, and he's a curator, he's giving her compliments, and she loves that. And she kind of almost uses him as a springboard, and she gets onto her new project. So for me in Under Construction, I think the male characters were a bit peripheral in the sense. And coming to Made in Bangladesh, the character of Sohel was somebody I wanted to create as a person who could embody the anxiety of Bangladeshi masculinity. Because what's happening in Bangladesh right now, with a lot of women employed in the garment factories, there's a huge number of male unemployment. So a lot of the factory workers actually have husbands who are unemployed, and they have a certain anxiety around not making money. Sometimes they take the money from their wives, or there was a scene where Sohel is not a bad person. He loves his wife.
Yeah.
He doesn't snatch the money from her, but he's sneaking into her wallet and seeing how much she got.
Yeah.
So I kind of try to do that. And in my next film, which is called The Difficult Bride, and it's in financing right now. This one actually doesn't have any male characters,
Wow.
which is interesting in the sense that this film is very cerebral. So it's about a woman who's going to get married, and we see her a few days leading up to the wedding. And the film resides between a space between reality and fantasy and dreams. So it's very internal in the sense, the film. So we don't really see the male characters. We see the women obsessing about the man. We see the women talking about men. Because I think that, in real life, how much do men and women really know each other? Because when women are talking about men, they're projecting their idea of what a man is or what a man should be. So in this film, it's very much about what goes on inside a woman's head. So I have kind of designed the film in a way that it's mostly surrounding around the women and the beauty salon and the preparation for the wedding. And there are no male characters really in the film.
And was it difficult, or was it something that was coming organically for you, or was it like a very conscious decision to keep all male characters out of the script and plot?
No, I think it happened very organically. Like I said, the film is set in a women's beauty salon.
Right.
And then at her home. So we might hear the voices of the father, or we can see the driver driving around the car, but the story doesn't demand a male character in the frame. He's in these hyper feminine spaces all the time.
Right.
It wasn't a conscious decision, but as I wrote it, it evolved in that way.
And I also have been asked to kind of probe you on your project, which is about Sultana's Dream training program for women. So if you can tell us a little bit about that, and does it involve anything to do with writing? We'd be curious to know about that.
Okay. Well, like I said, I believe that there's a huge imbalance in the number of women and male directors in the world. And I myself have had a lot of privileges from my education and from my family that enabled me to be a director. So I kept thinking, what can I do to give back? And how can there be more women directors in Bangladesh? Not everybody will come with so much privileges, then how would they become directors? So I basically designed this during the pandemic. I created a foundation called Sultana's Dream. And under that foundation, one of the programs is called Breaking the Silence. And we invited applications from all over Bangladesh, from women aged between 15 to 30. And we had selected 16 women. And with these 16 women, from this year, February, we started our training program. So this would be a training program for young women who would learn the craft of short filmmaking. These women have not made films before. And they will also, so we have 3 different phases. In the first phase, they learn script writing, cinematography, editing, sound, production design, writing a pitch proposal, things like that. And then for the second phase, they do a feminist study circle, a critical cinema studies study circle, and also a women's leadership training, because being a director is a leadership job. And then they pitch to an international jury, and we will award them grants. 2 films will get grants, and then we'll oversee the production. So this is our first edition, and it's an experiment to see that if women who have not made films before, if we put them through this training, can they make short films? And also, the purpose of this program is, from my experience, I realized that in Bangladesh, filmmaking is largely still learned informally through peer groups, and women don't have access to these misogynist, sexist peer groups where the composition is mostly male. Women also have restrictions from their family in terms of social mobility, also might have restrictions in terms of how much money they have access to. So for all these reasons, women don't have the kind of access to the learnings of the film techniques that men in Bangladesh have. So I felt it was important to create a separate platform for them. And also, it's not enough to be a woman and make films. I think it's important to be politically conscious. That's why we're exposing them to texts like Ways of Seeing. We're exposing them to, text by Simone de Beauvoir or Virginia Woolf, or films by feminist directors like Chantal Akerman, to kind of expose them and give them some information about their position in the world and the political consequences of their film. So hopefully by December, we will have the films ready. So I'm very excited. We have some amazing young women. They're very brave, and the stories, the scripts that they have come up with is amazing. And all of the mentors that I selected for this program are people that have met over the years through my professional connection. So I could really offer them the best mentor. Like for script writing, we had Philippe Baye, We have Meenakshi Shetty from India also for a script session. We had, the top cinematographer and sound recorders from Bangladesh doing their sessions. So we really tried our best to give them a good exposure.